Terraform is in almost every single cloud engineer job description, and most people can't even explain what it is. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining what is Terraform, why it's important, and why you need to know this as a cloud engineer. And so let's go ahead and go straight into it. Now, the problem is, when you're a cloud engineer, right, you want to be able to learn a skill set that can automate infrastructure, that can automate tasks. Let's make it simple. Now, the problem is you're going into AWS and you're clicking, right? You're going in a cloud environment and you're manually doing a process. Why is this a problem? Because this takes a lot of time. Okay. Typically, you're going to have a test environment, a staging environment, and a production environment. And going in each environment, creating an EC2, creating the VPC, an S3 bucket, the whole 9 yards, it's time consuming. And so now the question is, right, how can you solve this problem? Okay, so let's just go ahead and talk about this. Right now we have the problem, okay, and the solution to this. So first off, typically you're in the AWS console. Let's just say that's the AWS console, okay? And so AWS, and inside AWS, right, you're clicking, you're doing all these things, okay? Now, why is that a problem? Why do you not want to do that? Okay. What's a better solution? Okay. Now, what if you can create something called, it's like a file. Let's just say in AWS, we went ahead and created an EC2. We created a VPC and then an S3 bucket, right? We created an S3 bucket and I don't know, let's say an application load balancer, right? And let's say we have to create that in 3 different places. Now, the problem is this is going to take time. Once again, it's going to take time. Now, here is where things get like, this is why you want to use Terraform. Terraform is a way to automatically build out infrastructure, right? So that EC2, VPC, S3 bucket, and application load balancer, instead of going into AWS and clicking, right? You can go ahead and create something called, right? I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. A main.tf file. Literally, this is a file. Okay. This is a file that once you go ahead and create it, it will go ahead in this file, this main.tf file. I try to make it green, but it's not working. It's code, right? This is code that you can put inside this file, main.tf file. I have to figure out what's going on, like why it's actually changing colors. I haven't, this is like my 3rd time using this, so bear with me. Okay. Okay. Anyways, inside this main.tf file, okay, let me use this. Let's see if this works. Inside this main.tf file, you can actually have code that says, create me 4 EC2s, create me an S3 bucket, create me a VPC, and create me an application load balancer. Now you can take this file, right? You can share it with other people, right? And also you can literally think about this file like a blueprint. This file is like a blueprint to a house. Okay. Like the blueprint is going to tell you how to build this house. This blueprint, this main.tf file is just a blueprint to show you how to build your infrastructure. Hey, this is exactly what I want the house to look like. This is exactly how I want my infrastructure to look like. 4 EC2s, an S3 bucket, a VPC, and an application load balancer to distribute the traffic between the EC2s. Right? I'm not going to go into detail with that, but nonetheless, Terraform lets you write cloud infrastructure down in a file and then it builds it for you. Okay. Now, because it's a file, right? It goes into something called Git, Now, if you don't know Git, GitLab, I'll make a video on it. Comment down below if you want me to make a video on Git or GitLab. But it gets reviewed, right? It's either going to, it gets like, it's something that you can reuse, okay? Like if I build infrastructure, I can, so now let me not get ahead of myself. Now, inside this main.tf file, inside Git, right, you can use different types of Git commands in the terminal. I'm not going to go into that in detail. I just want you to understand what Terraform is. But now you can use something to execute this file, and then now it will go out there in AWS and now build out that infrastructure, right? Inside this infrastructure in AWS, you have the 4 EC2s. You have the, is that why? Okay, yeah, I figured it out. Okay, cool. So you have the 4 EC2s, okay? You have the application load balancer, 4 EC2s. You have the application load balancer, you have the S3 bucket, and then the VPC, okay? So like you can use something called Terraform apply, and that's going to build out the infrastructure. You literally type in Terraform apply in the terminal, and it's going to read this main.tf file, look at the blueprint, and say, hey, I need these things built in AWS on this specific AWS account, and it'll go ahead and build that. Why is this important? If you have 5 different AWS accounts, you can use this one main.tf file and you build it one time, and it can consistently build out this infrastructure. That is how you can automate infrastructure, and that's why it's important, okay? And so the 3 words over here, let me go ahead and, I do not know how to, let's see if this will work. That's my first, okay, that's cool. It's my first time doing this. I let go of the T, so let's add that T right there. Okay, so the 3 words, okay, that we want to understand is you want to be able to write, okay? So you want to be able to write, okay, writing your code. You want to be able to plan, and then you want to be able to apply. So what does this mean? Write, plan, apply. So when you're writing something, you want to describe what you want. It's exactly what I just set up here. Okay. You want to describe in this file, I want 4 EC2s, application load balancer, an S3 bucket, and a VPC. Okay. Now, like instead of clicking, you're describing what you want in the file in code, in Terraform code. Okay. Right. And then there's something that you can use called Terraform apply. Terraform plan. Terraform plan will literally tell you, or give you a whole breakdown on what it plans to build in your infrastructure. Terraform shows you what it's about to do before it does it. Okay. An analogy is the contractor hands you the quote and says, here's exactly what I'm adding, changing, and tearing down. Right. And what I want, like, and it's asking you, hey, do you want to approve this? This is the part that saves careers. You don't want to just have this Terraform main.tf file and then apply it, right, and build the infrastructure. You want to be able to plan it. You want to be able to see the blueprint, right? One last time. This is what I'm creating. This is what I'm adding. This is what I'm subtracting. This is what I'm modifying, right? So that's Terraform plan. And Terraform apply, right? These are literally commands that you put inside the terminal, right? Terraform plan and Terraform apply. Terraform apply, right? You say go and it builds it in minutes, not days. Okay. So now, I was going to go ahead and, go to the memory, the translator, and the recap. If what I'll do is actually, I'll do it right now, but I'll be quick because of time. But something that's super important. Oh, that is pretty cool. I like that. So something that's pretty important is, right, Terraform keeps a notebook of everything it builds. Okay, this is where we're getting into memory. Terraform keeps a notebook of everything it builds. Okay, now this notebook is called state. Okay. An analogy, right? It's like think about like a receipt. Okay. This is how Terraform knows, hey, I already built that server here, right? So it's not going to, so if you run Terraform apply and it builds the server, right? And then let's just say like you added stuff to the main.tf file, right? Let's say you added a security group and then you rerun Terraform apply inside this code because the EC2, like the 4 EC2s is here. And then you went ahead and say, let me add a security group. Okay. Right there. You added a security group to this file. The memory, the state file is going to remember, hey, we already have 4 EC2s, application load balancer, a VPC, and an S3 bucket. So it's not going. So when you run Terraform apply, it's not going to rebuild that same infrastructure because they already saved the data inside that Terraform state file. Okay, and so that state file, the memory, is what it's like a notebook. It's like a receipt. It remembers exactly what Terraform has already built in the infrastructure. Okay, so now. This, let me just get to the point, the recap, but this is not a programming language. Okay. You don't have to, it's not like Java. It's not like, HTML. Okay. It doesn't, you're literally just describing what you want. And then in this main.tf file, okay. And then you're describing it in code, right? It's using like certain syntaxes, like basic syntaxes, like variables. Like when you go to HashiCorp, and if you go on Google right now, I wish I can show it up on here, but if you go on Google right now and you type in Terraform EC2, you'll look at a website called HashiCorp, right? Terraform, and it will show you an example of the configuration of what you need to copy and paste in your main.tf file. It literally gives you the code. And then you can tweak the configurations, right? If you want 4 EC2s or 6 EC2s or whatever the case may be. And so you're literally going out there, you can Google whatever you want, S3, Terraform S3 or Terraform application load balancer, and it will literally tell you the code that you need to copy and paste, and you just configure it to how you want it. And so you're just describing what you want, okay? Literally, this is exactly what I was getting paid 6 figures remote to do in terms of creating solutions, creating infrastructure as a cloud engineer using Terraform, and I was more valuable to the marketplace because I can automate this. Instead of taking days, I can do it in minutes. And I can reuse the code and deploy it in different environments. I can use this in development environment, staging, and production. And so this is like a high level overview of Terraform. I didn't really go super in detailed about that. If you guys want me to actually create a video like that, let me know in the comments down below. Okay. And this, I cannot stress this enough. This is an important skill that you need to know as a cloud engineer. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, like it. And if you want to see more of this content, just go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.